Hey guys, today I'm going to be making a video response to a fellow Christian named ChristopherL. It's probably not one of his better videos, but I'm going to go ahead and respond anyway. I'll put a link down to his video down below. Alright, let's get right into it. I'll let him have the first word.
It seems that every time we have a jump in technology, every time there's a breakthrough, science changes the rules, it changes everything. That can be viewed as progress, but it means everything they taught before is now tainted or false.
And now I may have a slightly different understanding, so here's how I like to think about these things. When humans first found ourselves in existence, we wouldn't have very much data. We'd start looking around the world, making simple observations, and running simple experiments, and we'd come to realize some facts about reality. I'm going to represent the facts we come to learn as little black dots in this little diagram I'm going to give you guys. Once we find out a couple facts about the world, then we can generate a theory to explain those facts. Like, for example, when I realize that dropping this pen causes it to fall, I might, once we get a few more facts, I might be able to come up with a theory like gravity to explain all the data. And every once in a while, we come across mistakes. So, for example, Copernicus recognized that stars exist, and he recognized that they orbit around the sun. So to explain all this data, he came up with the theory of planetary motion, and we're going to represent that by a red circle. His theory concludes that all the planets have a circular orbit, and I might go ahead and also show you a picture of that, what that would look like. But then Newton came along and made a couple more observations. He realized that Copernicus's theory didn't explain all the data. It didn't explain all the visuals, and the math didn't quite add up. So he proposed a more accurate theory where he gave the planets elliptical orbits. Newton's theory is going to be represented by the blue circle. So now we have a better theory that explains more of the data. And that's how scientific progress usually works. It doesn't usually involve a paradigm shift where you scrap the entire theory and start over. It usually involves much more subtle alterations.
And unless you're someone who's actually out there doing the studies yourself and testing what science tells you, then you are taking their word and you are showing faith in what they teach. You're trusting that what they teach is actual truth.
Now first, I want to point out that trust is not a bad thing. Or at least it's not always a bad thing. It all depends on the evidence you have for putting your trust in something. For example, I trust that this chair I'm sitting in, you guys can't see it on camera, but it's going to hold me up when I sit in it, and it's going to continue to hold me up. And it's perfectly rational for me to trust that that's how it's going to happen. Now the way science works, our trust doesn't have to be blind. For example, I've experienced that water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or 100 degrees Celsius, and I'm also aware of the scientific claim that as you reach higher altitudes, it takes less heat for water to boil. Now, I don't need to go climb a mountain for myself in order to realize that. Due to the scientific method, someone else can climb that mountain for me, and I can gain access to the data. I can just observe it. When I accept one theory or another, I don't do so just on the basis of most scientists agreeing. I'm not just following the herd, as you say. Rather, I can look at the body of facts that we all have access to, and I can decide for myself which theory I think best explains the most data with the least assumptions.
I just think that it's condescending for people to say Christians don't think for themselves, when the truth of the matter is most of these people out there are saying that they are true self-thinkers, are really just following the herd.
Alright, this is not a Christian versus atheist type of issue. Christianity doesn't dictate the extent to which you trust science, and neither does atheism. That should be evident by the fact that you and I are both Christians, and we both happen to disagree about this issue.
Because whether I'm right or wrong, whether you're right or wrong, we all deserve a measure of respect. And it's very short-sighted to declare a Christian doesn't think for himself when you're guilty of the very same thing.
I don't think it matters whether you're a Christian or an atheist. I think you should think for yourself. As always, test everything, hold on to the good.